This tutorial on curtain walls in the Beck template will show you the curtain walls we have created for you in the template and on Unify. I've kind of dropped a sample of them so that I can show you them. We've got, and these are all found under the architecture wall tab and then down under curtain wall. So even though the tool is called curtain walls is the system family, but within that we have our design curtain walls, our exterior curtain walls, exterior storefront, interior storefront, and then you can also use the curtain wall tool for many other types of walls, which we'll show you, whether it's a site fence or horizontal louvers, vertical louvers, different finish wall types, louvered wall panels, wood panels. There's all kinds of uses for curtain walls. But anyway, let's just talk about the basics here in the Beck template. So the design wall types, they're very simple. Rectangular mullions, easy to adjust. You'll see a video on this page that talks about working with those. This is just two different designs. One is a storefront and one is a curtain wall, and so this tag is a multi-category tag revealing the type name, so you can see what the name is. And then this would be the description. So if you were to use your multi-category description tag, you would see what kind of walls these are. So as we move down the list, we have our exterior curtain wall butt glazed. Butt is a short term for SSG or structural silicone glazed. So that's that type, and that's a front glaze system with no mullion cap. The typical standard wall type would be a curtain wall system with a captured mullion that is front glazed. This is your standard Connier type system. We've made ours fairly generic so that you don't need to go get a Connier type or YKK type. You can just adjust the sizes to match the system you're using. Ours have a built-in shim space, which is important, so that the opening you give when you use our curtain walls is the rough opening that you want provided. So we'll see how that works in a few minutes. All right, we've got an angled fin type, and this angled fin, all of these are controlled with profiles. So the profile, if we look at a mullion type, the mullion type is defined by a profile. You can see right here, and that's the profile name. So if you need to change something about it, you need to edit that profile or create a new profile. So you can kind of backwards engineer all of our curtain walls. I should note that these are center mullions, and their profiles likewise say center in them. And centers would have no shim because there's glass on each side. Then there are what are called end. So this is an end mullion with a 1/2 inch shim. So if you look again at the profile, you'll see that that's curtain wall standard, and the size, the thickness of glazing, and the shim size. So if any of that needs to be changed, we do have a video on editing the sizes of all these. So that's the end side, and this is going to be the end opposite. And so recognize the reason for an end and end opposite is that you don't know, we couldn't really call one right side and one left side or jam, because this could be the bottom or top too. So that's why it's just called end or end opposite. But just to see what that would happen, if you use the end for both sides, it would be flipped the wrong way. So that is why there's an end opposite. All right, so the angled fin, and this is a good example to show how if you were to modify the profile, it will modify the shape of the element. So if I look up that profile, curtain wall angled, 6 inch, 13 degree, no shim. So we will go down to our profiles. So I'm in the profile section of the family section. And here is that guy right there. And I've already been playing with this. So if I change that back to 6 inches, you see that gets shorter. if you needed to change the angle, let's say you wanted it 15 degrees, it's going to tweak a little bit. So you have the ability to change the fin length. And I would rename it if I did commit these changes to my project so that it doesn't report the wrong information. And also make sure that if you are just editing the main profile, that this size isn't used somewhere else. If you need a different size, you'd right click, duplicate, and change the size as needed and make a new mullion using the new profile. So we're going to continue on in our series. So those are our main curtain wall types. There's more on Unify if you just search curtain walls. And then we move into storefronts. So storefronts are slightly different than curtain wall in that they don't have a captured mullion. So the curtain wall typically has this piece that clips on. Storefront doesn't usually have that. So these are generic storefront. And we've got a front glaze with 1 inch glazing. We've got a front glazed with 1/4 inch. We've got a front glazed, a center glazed with 1 inch. And you could edit that to be a 1/4 inch if you need it. And then we have 1 inch front glazed with sill pan. So if we were to look at this, I'm not sure this will show up. Let's see if it will. So you can see this has a built-in sill pan to the frame. So if that's applicable, that's what you would want to use. All right, let's go back to that floor plan. So those are our exterior types, and then interior types. We've got an interior hollow metal glaze system, which is hollow metal framing. Most likely, typically you'll use a door with a different frame type for those. I don't see this getting used very often, but it's there. And then we have an interior storefront that's center glazed and 1/4 inch, an interior storefront duplicated the same type. That should be a interior storefront. We have a fin, but I doubt that would get used. Maybe I didn't load it. Let's go to Unify. Oh, Unify closed on me. So while Unify is coming up, if you need, so there's not a drastic difference between an interior storefront and an exterior storefront. There's actually no difference. So if you needed at least I'm not aware of it, except the exterior would have the sill pan and the interior might not. So if you need interior storefront that looks like one of these, so this is a center. Let's say you needed for whatever reason, you had a front glazed inside that had inch glass, maybe for sound or something. You could certainly just copy this type over, edit, duplicate, rename it to be INT, because nothing about it's any different than the name. And then the important thing between interior and exterior is to change the function that helps us to use filtering. Nothing else is going to change there, except you could change its description here to interior and make sure that the assembly code is set to storefront. And that now you've got an interior storefront to use in your project. If these aren't loaded into your project, maybe you start an older one. If on Unify you search the Beck library and just type in storefront, you should get a list of our different storefront types. So storefront front glazed with sill pan, 1/4 inch glazing with sill pan, center glazed, 1 inch, 1/4, et cetera, et cetera. And same thing if you went for curtain walls. So, all right, so that's the end of this video. I'll do another one in a few minutes.